Morning everybody, when we're ready we'll get started with Rob Dorsey from Sky Sports News.
Gareth, good to see you. Clearly you couldn't legislate for all of these injury problems that you've had, but how damaging have they been to your plans?
Well, we've had to change plans because we had an idea of players we'd like to play, but great opportunity for others coming in. So Monday was difficult because there was so much uncertainty around are players going to be available or not, and then as the day played out there was more certainty for me as a manager. Once you know what you've got, that's far better. And okay, right, now we work with the players we've got, and I've got to say I've really enjoyed the week, the approach of all the players, new players coming in, which is a great opportunity for us to look at them. Two excellent games to look forward to. So for me already, I've learned a lot from the week, and when you've got the non-qualification games, that's what you need from it. You want to learn things. I said that when we went to Germany, said that with the game against France in the summer. We'll take more from these games than any of the qualification games, really, in terms of what we really learn about players and the system and everything else.
Are you satisfied that all those players that have withdrawn are actually incapable of playing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I think you do have the right. You're happy with the medical reports that have come back. They are injured. It's just that Mauricio Pochettino said yesterday that he expects Harry Kane to be fit and available for the North London derby next weekend. But he's not available to play for Scotland. You'd never question Harry Kane's desire to play for England, of course.
No, absolutely not.
Going on here in World Cup year?
No. Harry Kane, I knew Harry Kane was in trouble because he stayed down. Harry Kane doesn't stay down, so I knew already we had a potential problem. Both him and Harry Winks were scanned. Both scans our medical department have reviewed. No way they're available for our two games. Spurs might risk them for the game with Arsenal. It is a different matter, but none of the players that are out. I'm hearing there's talk of club v country. It's a nonsense. The players are injured and cannot play. So what I will never do is put a player. With some of the players, it's 100% clear. There's a scan. With a couple of the other lads that have been in, there's ongoing injury issues with them. I have man-to-man discussions with them around where are you at with it, how much risk do we want to take. Having been a player, I'm not a manager that wants to just wheel players out until they break. So I don't take risks with players. It's their livelihood, it's their career. If we're in a cup final or a critical game, maybe we have a really open conversation. But I think as a manager you have a duty of care to your players, to make sure that things are done correctly. Last two international weeks, every player that's gone back from here has been available to play for their club the following weekend. I know Jurgen was disappointed that I played Jordan twice, but there was no risk in that. We knew Jordan had an ongoing issue. He was available for the Saturday. We were quite clear in terms of how that needed to be managed. So I've never taken a risk with a player. We had the same with Jamie Vardy last month. I speak to the player. I can sense where the player is in terms of what they need, and that's the most important thing for me. My relationship and our relationship with the player, nothing else.
You said that the last squad had contained players that didn't really deserve to be there. Is that even more the case with this squad?
No, because the squad I've picked is the best we have available. Last time I had players who weren't playing regularly and who, if you were looking at some of the guys we've brought in, the younger ones, for example, who were playing really well, maybe they had a case for inclusion ahead of them. So, in terms of the guys that are here, I'm really happy with the squad we've got here. It's allowing me to work with some players we might not have seen. this period between qualification and the finals has to be one of an element of experimentation. If we don't try things in these games, when are we going to try things? When are we going to learn about some of these guys? So, and that's not just for Russia, but with some of these it's for beyond Russia as well. Germany took a really young team to the Confederations Cup. I thought it was brilliant what they did. They took a younger team to the under-21s finals. They took a young team to the Confederations Cup, and that's how they work. They are brave enough to take decisions that might get them results, might not, but they're constantly improving and evolving as a team. And in my view, that's what we have to do.
Despite all the injuries you've got, you haven't called up Chris Paul, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Jack Wilshere, Jermaine Defoe, Daniel Sturridge. What do those players now have to do to convince you that they're worth a place at Russia?
Oh, I think that we've called up players for specific positional requirements, so it's not a case of anything against those guys you've mentioned. We felt there were the way that we want and need to play positional and physical requirements for the roles. And then there's one or two positions where we might be a bit light, that we might call a couple of the under-21s in after their game at the weekend as well.
No regrets about selecting the two best teams in the world when you've got a squad that isn't as strong as perhaps you would like it to be?
That's a brilliant test for us. I think for the players to be playing in front of a full house twice at Wembley against top teams, they're the games you live for. So, and we're going to learn a hell of a lot about everything. I've learned an enormous amount already this week from the process. So, I think I'm just looking forward to the games now and seeing how the lads go.
On a slightly more political note, when England played Germany in Dortmund back in March, there was some derogatory booing from a minority of England fans. But this is a couple of days, this game against Germany, a couple of days before Remembrance Sunday. Do you have a message to any England fans about what they're singing and how they behave?
Yeah, I was asked about this immediately after the game in Dortmund, and to be honest, I wasn't aware at the time of exactly what had been said. It was hearsay, so I wasn't as strong as I'd like to have been on it, really. I think it's unacceptable, completely unacceptable. We have a huge percentage of fans who follow us brilliantly. We experienced that in Lithuania when we went over to the supporters at the end of the game. An element that, things that were shouted that night, totally unacceptable. We've moved on from those times and should have moved on from those times. They don't represent us as a team, the people that do that. But I want to be very specific, because I don't want it to be our fans as a collective. We're talking about individuals, and the mass majority support us brilliantly. Also, to add to that, Germany, I think, have taken a huge step in terms of agreeing to wear the poppy as well in this fixture. So I think that also is something that should be noted, and we appreciate what they're doing.
A couple of questions for John, if that's okay. John, the world champions followed by the second best team in the world, Brazil. Is this what gets you really excited as a player?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a player you always want to train against the best, play with the best and play against the best, and it always brings out the best in you. I think you're testing yourself to your maximum capability. Obviously we're quite familiar with a few faces from club as well, who you're coming up against, and always helps to have a little bit of inside information, on how those players work. And yeah, definitely to bring two world-class teams to Wembley when it's going to be packed out. It's going to be a great occasion for the fans, for us as players in our preparation for the World Cup.
Last question from me. No Thomas Muller. Looks like it could well be Sandro Wagner up front. What do you know about him? He's pretty physical, isn't he?
Yeah, not too much really. I think the last few days we've done our research in the meeting room on Germany especially, and it's just about trying to balance things out with over-analysing and doing our training bit really. I think we've got to concentrate on ourselves, as we do as always, working hard on the training pitch, because I keep saying, but we don't get much time together with England, and the valuable time is on the training pitch and in and around those meetings. So whoever we come up against, whatever system we come up against, we can go into that game knowing that we've done everything out on the training pitch to be prepared for it.
Any further questions?
John, Gundogan is back in the German squad after a period of absence with his injury, obviously, and there's Sane too. Have you had much sort of like friendly rivalry in the dressing room at City about it?
Not really, no. It was just kind of straight after the game. Everyone got off leaving for international, but I spoke to Leroy yesterday, and he's excited to come over to London and play at Wembley, and I'm sure Gundo is as well. It's good to see him back fit and healthy and playing for us as well. And then obviously getting in the national team is, I'm really pleased for him.
Gareth has said now that England have qualified 3 at the back. Do you prefer that system?
I don't think there's any preferred system for me personally. I think you've got to adapt to what's put in front of you and be comfortable enough to be adaptable in whatever position you play and whatever system you play. I think it's another string to our bow as a team and me as a player that you can swap and change in the game or whoever you're playing.
Has anything changed for you this season?
Sorry?
Has anything changed for you this season in terms of your own game?
No, I feel like I've been developing from the start of last season when I first went to City. I don't think there's ever been a point where I've not been developing, not been learning. That doesn't mean it's always been good, good learning in a positive way. It's, I've had to take dips and have a good look at myself, and I feel every day that I go out on the training pitch, it's a day to get something out of it. And I think not just me, the boys all have that same mentality, and that's why everyone's performing for the club. We've been on a good run personally, and I want to keep that going.
And as a Barnsley lad, you'll know that they used to say at Oakwell, it's just like watching Brazil. You're now going to be facing Brazil as well as Germany. What sort of challenges it is for you to be playing against 2 illustrious teams such as Germany and Brazil?
We've played Germany twice before, I think, so we know a little bit more about them, but obviously we've got a few Brazilians in this team at City, so you get a feel for it, but it's kind of unknown territory, which I think is very exciting for me personally. As I say, coming up against the best always, brings you to your best, and it creates that challenge, and it's one that's going to be, as I said, a great atmosphere for the fans, and to bring them to Wembley, packed out again. We've got to go out there and show what we can do and put them on the back foot. And I think, with the players that we've got, the hunger that everyone's got in their bellies, and it's a great occasion.
Thank you.
Okay, if that's the end of the live broadcast, just pass the mic.
Gareth from City of German Television. We spoke earlier on about the German team and how they built up with the U21 and the Conference Cup and all of that. Are you at the same stage at the moment? Because I hear you saying, I've learned a lot, I'm trying. Is that where you feel you have to find a new way? Because otherwise, the young ones are good, but the main team doesn't perform.
Yeah, we're not at the same stage because your plan has been in place for a lot longer, and you've already won. You're already world champions. So we are have been further behind as a country. This was only built 5 years ago. The work with the younger teams, the new work only started in the last 3 or 4 years. But you can see the progress that is being made. For that to translate into the senior team in terms of success on the pitch might take some time, and we've got to introduce these young players at the right time when we think they're ready, when we think they can do themselves justice, but also over the last few months we had to keep qualifying for the World Cup as well, so we have to get the balance right of how we do that.
Could it be a bit of an insult to the Could it be a bit of an insult to the senior players to say, we have to wait for the young ones, because in principle you have quite good players
from the Premier League?
We don't have a huge amount of senior players in the squad. You know, we only have two players in the squad who are over 30, maybe 3. So we are only picking from 70 players in the league, and we know already some of those guys are out of the frame for England. So then you're looking to, okay, who might be good enough in the years to come? What's the potential? What might the team look like? And I'd rather invest in our time in players like John, who we believe can be at the very top, give them their opportunity, build as a team. In the long term, England will benefit, and I think that's what we have to look at.
And final question, can you describe your relationship to the players, you know, in terms of respect, the man with a whip? Is it a friendship? How would you describe that, both of you, probably?
Well, I think my job is to I care for the players. I've worked with the majority of them at younger levels. I want them individually to be as successful as they can and to improve. But I'm not here to keep them happy. I'm not here to be their pal. I have to make tough decisions, as I've done since I took the role, and I have to make firm decisions because also I have a responsibility to the country. So the balance is one that we have to find. We have to win football matches, and I've got to lead the team. But equally, the responsibility, especially with the young ones, is to encourage them, is to help them improve, is to give them opportunities, to support them, because we're really excited about what can be achieved over the next few years.
How do you see this? How do you see the relation between the players and the trainer and manager?
There's a great atmosphere about the place, and I think he's right what he said then. Is there's a fine balance between being over friendly or too close to the players and being stern with them and knowing the place, and I think that he has that balance really well. Very good when he comes and speaks to us on the training pitch individually or as a collective, and that's where our work gets done out on the pitch, and that's when it's work time. In and around the place, we have a laugh and a joke, and it's a fun atmosphere to be around. You don't want to come here and be miserable as players, and it's not like that one bit. We come and we enjoy each other's company. Everyone gets along, the staff, the players, and I think that's what makes us such a good team. On and off the pitch, that everyone's together, everyone gets along, and I think that helps us massively for going forward as a team.